There is a Harvard neuroscientist who has spent nearly 50 years studying Alzheimer's disease. He discovered three of the genes linked to it. And when people ask him what the single most powerful thing is that they can do to protect their brain after 60, his answer surprises almost everyone. It is not a supplement. It is not a medication. And it costs absolutely nothing. Most people over 60 are doing the opposite of what this researcher recommends. And the research suggests that gap between what we know and what we actually do may be one of the biggest drivers of cognitive decline in older adults today. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what this habit is, the science behind why it works, and three specific ways to start doing it this week. The researcher is Dr. Rudolf Tanzi. He is a professor of neurology at Harvard Medical School and co-director of the McCance Center for Brain Health at Massachusetts General Hospital. He is one of the most cited Alzheimer's researchers in the world. In January 2026, Dr. Tanzi published a framework for brain health called SHIELD. It stands for 6 daily habits that research shows can slow, and in some cases reverse, cognitive aging: sleep, handle stress, interact with others, exercise, learn new things, diet. Each of those 6 habits matters. But when Dr. Tanzi is asked which single habit has the most dramatic impact on the aging brain, he always gives the same answer. As always, nothing in this video is medical advice. Always consult your physician before making any changes to your health routine. What this video will do is share what the research actually says about protecting your brain after 60. The habit is exercise, specifically aerobic exercise, the kind that gets your heart pumping, the kind that makes you slightly breathless. Brisk walking qualifies completely. Here's why Dr. Tanzi calls it the most powerful brain protection tool available to anyone over 60 right now. When you do aerobic exercise, your brain produces a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Dr. Tanzi describes BDNF as, and this is his phrase, miracle grow for new brain cells. It promotes the birth of entirely new neurons in the hippocampus, the part of your brain most responsible for memory and learning. Most people believe that after a certain age, the brain stops growing new cells. That belief is wrong, and aerobic exercise is one of the most reliable ways to trigger new brain cell growth at any age. But that is only the first mechanism. There is a second one that directly relates to Alzheimer's risk. Dr. Tanzi's research focuses heavily on a toxic protein called amyloid. Amyloid is the sticky substance that builds up in the brain and triggers the cascade that leads to Alzheimer's disease. It begins accumulating silently, 2 decades before symptoms appear. Aerobic exercise increases the production of enzymes in the brain that break down amyloid. Your brain produces these clearance enzymes naturally during and after physical activity. The more consistently you exercise, the more efficiently your brain clears this toxic buildup. This is not a minor effect. The Harvard Aging Brain Study, which followed 296 adults between the ages of 50 and 90, found that higher step counts were directly linked to slower rates of cognitive decline and slower buildup of tau, another toxic protein associated with Alzheimer's, in the brain. The study found that most of the cognitive protection from physical activity was driven by this slower tau accumulation. Think about the last time you genuinely got your heart rate up. Not a gentle stroll, not a slow walk to the mailbox. A real brisk walk, slightly breathless, heart pumping. How many days ago was that? Keep that number in mind. We will come back to it. Here's what makes this research so important for people over 60 specifically. The goal is 150 minutes of aerobic exercise per week. That sounds like a lot. It is not. It works out to about 22 minutes per day, or 30 minutes 5 days a week. A brisk walk after dinner. A morning walk around the block. That is all it takes to trigger the BDNF response and the amyloid clearance mechanism. But the Harvard Aging Brain Study found something even more accessible. Even 3,000 to 5,000 steps a day, well below the often cited 10,000 step goal, was associated with meaningful protection against cognitive decline. This is significant because many people over 60 find 10,000 steps unrealistic, but 3,000 to 5,000 steps is entirely achievable for most people. The lead researcher on that study, Dr. Ying Wendy Yao, said it directly. Every step counts. Even small increases in daily activity build over time to create sustained changes in brain health. Now, let's talk about what else happens to your brain when you exercise regularly after 60. Because the BDNF and amyloid effects are only part of the story. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain. More blood flow means more oxygen and more nutrients delivered to brain cells that need them to function. Consistently poor blood flow to the brain is one of the contributing factors to age-related cognitive decline. Exercise reduces inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation in the body and in the brain accelerates cognitive aging. Aerobic exercise is one of the most effective natural anti-inflammatory interventions available. Exercise reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that Dr. Tanzi specifically calls toxic to brain cells in high doses. Chronic stress accelerates brain aging. Exercise directly counteracts that process. And exercise improves sleep. Dr. Tanzi describes sleep as a rinse cycle for the brain, the nightly process by which the brain flushes out amyloid and other waste products. People who exercise regularly fall asleep faster, sleep more deeply, and wake up less frequently during the night. Exercise is the one habit that touches every single other habit in Dr. Tanzi's SHIELD framework. It improves sleep, it reduces stress, it protects against the brain inflammation that diet is also fighting. It is the single highest leverage habit available to anyone over 60 right now. That number you are holding, how many days since your last brisk walk? If the answer is more than 2 days, the rest of this video is especially important for you, because we are about to talk about exactly how to start, even if you have not exercised in years. A lot of people over 60 avoid aerobic exercise for one of three reasons. They think it has to be intense to work, they think they miss the window, or they have a physical limitation that makes traditional exercise feel impossible. Here's what the research actually says about all three of those concerns. It does not have to be intense. Brisk walking, not running, not a gym, not a fitness class, triggers BDNF production and amyloid clearance. Brisk means slightly breathless. You should be able to speak in short sentences but not sing. That is the target intensity. That is all that is required. You have not missed the window. Research consistently shows that people who begin regular aerobic exercise in their 60s and 70s, even after years of inactivity, show measurable improvements in cognitive function and brain volume within months. The brain retains its ability to respond to exercise stimulation far longer than most people believe. And if you have physical limitations, joint pain, balance issues, reduced mobility, chair-based aerobic exercise and water walking have both shown similar BDNF triggering effects in studies of older adults with mobility restrictions. The starting point is not a fitness goal. The starting point is a daily decision. A 10-minute walk today is infinitely better than a perfect workout plan that never starts. Here are 3 concrete steps to take this week. First, and commit to 22 minutes of brisk walking every day. Not a run, not a gym, just a brisk walk, slightly breathless, for 22 minutes. That is 150 minutes per week, the exact threshold the research identifies as protective against cognitive decline. Start tomorrow morning. Second, add one simple measure of your activity. Use your phone's built-in step counter or a simple pedometer. Aim for 3,000 to 5,000 steps per day as your starting target. The Harvard research confirms this level is already meaningfully protective. You do not need 10,000 steps to protect your brain. Third, tell one person what you are doing and why. Social connection is the third pillar of Dr. Tanzi's SHIELD framework. Research consistently shows that people who exercise with a partner or accountability buddy are significantly more likely to maintain the habit over time. A spouse, a neighbor, a friend. It does not need to be a formal arrangement. Just tell someone. Your brain can grow new cells today. The research says so. The pathway is a 22-minute walk. That is within reach of almost everyone. The only question is whether you take it. If this video helped you, please share it with one person over 60 in your life who you wish would walk more. You might just give them the research they needed to actually start. Subscribe to Reclaim 60 for more evidence-based brain health and senior wellness content every week. Everything grounded in real research and explained in plain English. And leave a comment below with just one word, the thing that stops you most from exercising regularly. Pain, time, motivation, just the one word. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.